14 yellow roses that were put out there in the memorial, one for each person who was killed. So far, there's still people recovering, you all, from the horrible events on Bourbon Street. Traumatic events such as this one, whether we're talking about this car that rammed into all of these people, or shootings, or bombings, or any other violent act, war. It could leave members of your family, especially the kids, feeling frightened and confused. Whether a child has personally experienced this or maybe just hears you talking about it, right? What they call moral injury. It's very important for us as adults to be able to help these kids and ourselves process. So Dr. Holly McKenna, she's an integrative psychiatrist with Darrow Wellness. She is with us now with this really important conversation. So come to the TV, put it up on your phone, however you're watching us. Thank you so much, Doc, for being here.
Oh, of course.
Talk a little bit about how my own kids were like, wait, what, Mom? And I took pause. I'm like, okay, how am I going to help them process this? Because every age, Doc, needs a certain amount of care. So how do you tell the people in your life?
Absolutely. So for children of any age, and adults too, the number one thing is to feel safe.
Yeah.
And that's really when you experience some type of trauma like this, whether it be witnessing it, as you said, or being there live, safety is the greatest concern. And that's actually going to help you prevent developing something later.
Okay.
So for kids, safety is very egocentric. It's that they're safe, that mom and dad are safe, their best friend at school, their favorite teacher, even grandma in Michigan. It's not necessarily realistic, the people that they worry about, but that's something that's really important to allow space for and allow questions. It's, kids are going to bring it up in different ways. They may draw about it. They may, do some type of play around it.
Sure.
Just depending on the age,
Which
but
is good to
allowing
encourage
space.
it, right?
It
Yeah.
is,
Say,
it
let's
is.
draw about this. Let's talk about this. Let's write about this.
Yes.
A lot of times you think that because they weren't there, that you weren't close enough. What about the adults, us as a city? I mean, this is a city that has suffered a lot together. So how do we suffer this together?
Well, I think a lot of it is being present. I love what's happened in the quarter as far as having clergy there to bless the space and allowing the musicians to come in and kind of change the energy. I think that's super important for all of us.
Yeah.
I also love that, Fox 8 and others have been sharing and being transparent about how things have been handled, because that helps with the safety and feeling like, okay, it's okay to go to the Superdome now.
Yes. Like, don't gaslight me and tell me that things were great and people did great. Show me what actually happened.
Yes,
Talk
absolutely,
about that.
absolutely. It's important to allow space for yourself to feel safe, do things that fill your cup. So that might be exercising, the basics, like sleeping well, eating well. Now we're coming off the holidays, getting back into your routines and doing things that you can accomplish. It can be small things, but allowing space for yourself to grieve, because we really are grieving a sense of safety there, a sense of community, and the loved ones that we've lost.
And you have a really incredible background, the fact that you worked with the VA for 10 years and you now see veterans for free.
I did.
The conversation, Doc, about how someone arrives at so much violence making sense. The veteran space is very interesting because these people have been trained to make sense of violence for the sake of war and for the sake of protecting our country, reintegrating into normal civilian society. What does it look like when you see this population that really only 10% of the American population has served in the military? So talk about that.
Well, part of the veteran population is that they have been exposed to violence as part of their training. They really are experts at compartmentalizing and separating that space out. And that's great for in the moment when you're surviving, when you're on active duty. But then, as you said, when you come back to society now, reintegrating that, if you continue to compartmentalize and avoid, that does predispose the brain into developing more of a post-traumatic stress and having that trauma kind of turn into something else. They do have a unique skill set. Veterans are at very high risk for suicide. We've talked about that, but part of why they are is because they have been exposed to violence. So they can kind of separate that as kind of being the norm for them.
So let's end with this, because Lord knows we all need a safe space after this week, and whether it's a friend, a form of therapy, you offer this free therapy. How do people find you if they've served, and how do people find you just to be able to get help even if there's
Yeah,
civilian?
so you can reach out on my website, darawellnessnola.com.
Okay.
I do see veterans, first responders, folks who have been exposed
Okay.
to trauma through Headstrong. I see them for free. So that's always a resource, and you can always reach out to me and I can help folks connect to that.
Awesome.
You know,
Okay.
I'm happy to do it because, you know, they've all been there for us for so long.
No doubt. Dr. Holly McKenna, thank you so much for the work that you do.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you
Thank
coming on. All right, guys.